Okay, folks, happy Sunday. So, we've got the basing on this first billboard that we did dry. It took a little while for it to dry. So we're going to go ahead and complete this one. Or at least prime it. You know, we got some drying time involved in all these things. So, that means you're going to have to work on part of the process and have to come back to it and so forth. So, I think what I'm going to do, considering this is made of wood, let me get all my appropriate colors here. We're going to go ahead and prime it in black like I do everything else. I can even use a used palette for this. I don't need to use something fancy. And let this dry so we can finish this off. Obviously, it's going to be painted in colors of wood. Probably, maybe it'll be metal, but regardless of what we do, it'll be overall in black. So let's get a piece of cardboard that we don't mind having paint all over. Let's adjust this. Over. Oh. Okay. What's going on here? There we go. Okay. I don't know why it selected that. Maybe that's what this little lock button is for. Let's lock that. Okay. And we're just going to use some black craft paint. Let's remove this. This doesn't need to be in here. And oh, this is the one that we're using for okay. Let's not do that one. I've got one down here. We can use this. We're going to try not to make a mess, but you know, shit happens. You can not make a mess, but then it takes longer. You can be really careful. At some point, it's diminishing returns. Now, let's get a paintbrush that we don't care about too much because. And look at that, I just closed it up and I got black paint on me. That's the worst thing about craft paint is how it closes up. Not the actual quality of the paint. And we're just going to come in here and we're going to just slop this on. This is the first one that we did. And we haven't gone back and done any of these this way because it just takes a lot longer to cut the individual pieces of wood and placing them between here, instead of just doing the entire back. I normally don't paint on this side. I paint on the other side, on that table. But this side's already upside down and all around. I'm not worried if the back of this is covered really well with paint. As a matter of fact, I probably don't need to paint this white part. Let's just paint this edges to make sure everything's showing. That's the part that actually the paint would adhere to the worst. Is this part of this board, because it's slick. And we're going to have to do this in 2 stages because of drying time of the paint. We're going to have to do this and then grab it by this end and then do the base. Now this should dry relatively flat. Not that matters. The only reason the only reason that it has any significance before you're done with it, whether or not something dries flat, is if it's glossy. Sometimes, especially if it's really glossy, there might be somewhere where there's like paint missing, and you won't see it because it's reflective. So your eye is like fooled by other things around it. Flat helps you be able to see where anything that needs any touch up. Now, this is craft paint, and what I read one time was that craft paint tends to be very flat because it's it's not the pigment, it's the other stuff that makes it flat. And and in order to keep it cheap, they try to minimize how much pigment they're using. This is what this article said. I don't know, it kind of made sense. In my experience, the primer. Some of these rocks fall off. It's no big deal, right? It kind of made sense. Not that we're not going to seal it. It's just along the way, it's easier to see what exactly you got going on by it being flat already. Okay. So that's about as far as I can go, and this isn't going to take very long to dry. It'll certainly be completely dry in an hour. We'll just drop that in there, rinse it off. You got a paper towel up here? I do. I have one. Okay. And any excess that we got on here, and hand sanitizer does the rest of it. I don't want to transfer this stuff on to anything that I'm working on. It's not just about being a neat freak. It's about getting black paint and you get it on something else, and then you got to reprint a sign or anything like that. Just like having a chaotic desk, and this is like borderline. I'm going to need to check into an asylum. But I don't like working in an environment like this because you're looking for stuff. It's wasted sanity. All right. That's the first one that's dry. So we left off yesterday, I think. We had put the last sign together, and by the sign together I mean like the actual frame of it. So we should be done with all the framing of that. We've got this. We've got the Cruel Britannia, which I think is good to go, except for the goop on the bottom. I'm not going to open up the goop multiple times, so that can wait. So this one's pretty much ready to go with the reinforcing and so forth. Well, the figurative reinforcement, I guess it kind of helps, but it's I don't need it for the purpose of it, falling apart or breaking or anything like that. So this one is not very top heavy. Now that I think about it, it's not very top heavy at all. But it also has goop on it. This one's bigger and doesn't have goop on it, and it's a little bit more. I don't think it's going to need weights. Some of the larger ones may, just something like a couple pennies, and that's it. I mean, it's not going to take much. So that one's pretty much ready to go as far as the reinforcement and everything. The Asian decimation, I kind of I moved off to the side because I ran out of materials, and I do want to do some kind of reinforcing on it. I just don't know, just for looks. I just don't know what I want to do on it just yet. So let's push it off to the side. And that's when I just like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and print out the new ones and do the basing on them. The rednecks is probably going to be the one that's the most unique because I am going to put some kind of like we'll call it a tree stand, even though it's not really a tree stand. Some kind of a stand on there. It needs to be able to carry somebody that is, we can use this guy. That a platform at least big enough for a penny to go on, and that's in case I end up having separate figures. I'd like the place for a separate figure or two, maybe two's extreme, to just be on the side, shooting at people as they go by or something. It just might be an added fun thing to do in a game. I don't know if that has any practicality whatsoever, but I like the idea that all of the signs are turning out, or at least the frames are turning out different. I made zero effort in trying to get them the same size. It's not that important. So, yeah, this is the frame for the Rednecks one. So, and of course all the backs of this one are done. Oh, the backs of these other two aren't done. I don't know what I'm going to do with the Marty's motors and machine guns. It may be attached to the building that ends up being that thing, or it may be just off to the side. I haven't decided. So, there's always something you can be working on. This is a medic, isn't it? Yeah, this is another medic figure that I have from Battlefield. All right, so we're going to create a base like this one. Now, I may break my rule of not using anything bigger than this, because I'm thinking this is a relatively large sign, and it's kind of top heavy anyways. And if I put a platform on it, the platform is not going to be very big. It's going to be like maybe an inch by an inch, But still, it's going to add height to that, and which is going to want to pull it forward. So I'm thinking about maybe using a bigger base on this one. I could just put two of these side by side. I mean, this is the right size for it. I don't think I have any weights left. I had these weights that I got for the little walls here, which I haven't painted yet because I know the paint's not going to stick to it. These things these are great products. They were made by, well, I can't tell you who it is. Well, it's whoever these guys are. These folks. Gaslands Death Racing Apocalyptic Car Series. Friends of Gaslands. I know they were Phalanx Consortium is who I got these from at a convention. And they're just MDF, and they're great. They're simple. They paint up really well. But they constantly were falling forward. They're just driving you freaking crazy in the middle of a game. So I'm like, I gotta put some weights. Well, after I painted them, it's got these little stick-on weights, and it's just enough that problem is done. Don't have that anymore. But I don't have any more of these, and these are relatively expensive. was like maybe $10 for them. I mean, you could buy cheaper ones, but I mean, these were good. They did the job. I don't know if they were $10, but they were close. You know, for a whole pack. I don't think I have any left over. If they are, I don't know where they are, and I'm not going to look for them. And honestly, they're kind of big, anyways. So it's just a matter of hiding some weights on them, even hiding some weights underneath. It's not that big of a deal. If I decided to make this thing, okay, so the Asian one is about the same size as the Red Mix one, right? Okay, fair enough. So we can use this one. If I decided to make the base the same size as this, and I put a platform, the platform's going to be like over here somewhere. I need a space for them to go up and down a ladder, at least put a figurative ladder. Good morning, Marcus. Some kind of figurative ladder that I'll make out of, basswood or something like that. Not a big deal. It's not like I got to put 40 runs on it or anything. I just put, 4. Use your imagination how to get up, right? And it's 1 inch. I don't know that I want it on a bigger base. Wider base. Let's put it that way. I don't know that I want it on a wider base. I don't see. Well, I'll tell you what. Let me go back to doing the Asian one. When in doubt, keep it moving. Where you been, man? Shoveling old snow? That's got to be more snow than you guys have gotten in the city since you've been there. As somebody who's not from a snow place, me, I just assumed that it rained, that it snowed in New York City all the time. But I guess that isn't the case. I'd never even seen snow until 2017. I'd never even been somewhere where it snowed until 2017. Like, we had to go find it. And we found it in Utah. And we went over spring break 2017. I believe it was 2017. And it was actually warmer when we went. It was warmer in Utah than it was here in Florida. By like a couple of degrees. And there wouldn't have been any snow anywhere had it not been like, it snowed like really heavy in like that February or something like that. But I never actually was in somewhere where it was snowing until the year later that we went to Colorado. It wasn't snowing a lot, but it was like, we were up in Breckenridge. It's like, oh, did you do a ski vacation? No, we did a ski vacation, but we didn't do any skiing because, I'm too old for that shit. Well, it's not that I'm too old for it. Like, I just didn't develop those skills, and it's like, it's too fucking late now, Just got back from a gymnastics competition in Virginia Beach. It was 50 degrees when we landed yesterday late afternoon. We do have more winter coming this week. I think ours is done. We got a couple of warm weeks. I think it got close to 80 yesterday, and it was okay because it wasn't like bug ridden and it wasn't 80 degrees all day. I mean, it's still like, it's probably 50 something at night. But I think this winter is the coldest it had been in a row. Like, we went like 2 weeks of like cold for Florida, cold. It's not a complaint. It's just a, observation. There's lots of people around me that were complaining. I don't live with any of them, but like the locals. There's people here that are just like, they can't deal with it being 40 degrees. I don't know why, man. They make jackets in your size. What's your problem? I can't deal with the fucking bugs. I can't deal with bugs. I don't know why you'd want bugs. Okay, so this is the one that we kind of had to haphazardly do. We've got 2 pieces of balsa and 2 pieces of bass on the outside. They're the same dimensions. But we're going to do some reinforcement on this one. I don't care about whether it's engineeringly sound. We definitely want to use balsa for this. And I think we're going to put a reinforcing piece all the way across here that looks something like this. I think that looks plausible. You know, it's an opportunity to try a bunch of different things, and some I may like and some I may not. Let's get my magic pencil here. Something like that. You know, I know somebody from New York, and they live in South Florida, and they can't stand the cold. And I'm like, how did, you know, we're not asking you to go to fucking Antarctica. We're just like, you know, cold weather in Florida. Like, they can't handle it. I'm like, I can't handle going out. Like, you go to a restaurant, right? Like, you want to sit inside or outside? Say, let's sit outside. And you're just sweating your fucking balls off, right? Like, you're like, I can't handle that shit. Like, why would you want to sit outside in that? Like, if it's cold, I mean, sure, you don't want to be like, you know, drinking a beverage and crunching ice like I do all the time and sit outside. You'd be, you know, frigid, you know, but I don't want to be outside when it's, I think we could probably just wing this. Just go by load. So I'm not going to put it in the middle. I'm going to put it up higher than that. I don't know. Does it really fucking matter? No. Let's fire up the cold glue gun. It's not like we're getting ready to run out of glue or anything. Yeah, but many of the local people, like, they can't tolerate, like, any fucking cold at all. Like, oh, I mean, I don't live in Florida. I can't handle Florida. It's like, it's 62 degrees, man. Yeah, it's cold. Put on some fucking clothes, man. And these same people would be in the summer. They'd be in the springs, which is too fucking cold for me. I don't do cold water. I do not do cold water. Absolutely not. I don't take cold showers. I don't go in the springs that are, oh, it's 68 degrees or 72 degrees. You're out. 72 degrees is motherfucking cold for water. I could deal with 18 degrees. You know, I'm wearing a fucking jacket. I'm not wet. The sky is beautifully blue, you know? But it's been colder this year in a row than any year I remembered. The problem is it could be like, if you made it so it was never, if it was 30 degrees in Florida for 10 years, every day, and decided to warm up after 10 years, the bugs would still be. I mean, the roaches would find somewhere to survive or whatever. It's like, you can't kill the bugs. They will come back. There's no way to kill those things. But I love Florida despite the weather. Some people come, I come to Florida for the weather. I said, well, the weather where you live must be a shithole because I don't like the weather here. It's too damn hot. No te muevas. Oh, that's not a good sign. What snapped? That's the problem with balsa wood. It's a limp, brittle dick. Okay. And something like that might just be enough. It's just, this is the support thing. Yeah, it's got a little crack in there now. No big deal. My own fault for pushing on it. The toughest part about the cold up here is that it's also very windy. I can handle below freezing all day without wind. But that wind makes it, yeah, it is. And the wind here is worse because it's moist. and it goes right to your bone. And yeah, it's cold, but yeah, the wind is. We went to Colorado. It was colder here. You know, it wasn't that cold because it wasn't windy, and it was. I can't handle the dryness out west. I can't handle how damn dry it is. Okay, so we got a little crack in there. It should be fine. It's actually on the back side. If it was on the front side, I'd just fill it in. I don't know that I need to do much more than that. This is the one that we're going to make a little Tory gate looking thing. I need to do something about weighing this down though before I go into that. I'll be right back. I'm going to go to the garage, see what I can scrounge up. All right, I don't have anything, but I got a fair amount of tools, but I don't have like loose screws and stuff like that, washers or anything like that. So I'm going to do the correct solution. I'm going to order more of these weights, but since I want to work on this now, I'm going to remove these and then just replace them with other ones. So the first one I'm going to do is one of these that I painted first. I always make fun of it because it's not as bright. It doesn't look bad, it's just not as bright. That's the one we're going to cannibalize first. This is the first one that I painted. And it doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look as bright as this one. Okay, so we're gonna take these weights off of this. And you should be able just to pry them up with an X-Acto knife. They're just on little stick-em things. And I don't know if they're too wide, but we'll burn that bridge when we get there. And we're gonna hot glue gun these things down, so. Damn. Man, this happens all the time. X-Acto knives didn't used to do this. You'd screw them in and they would never come out. Now, you know, you put too much torque on it and you want to get all uppity and come out. This should work. I don't know what these things are made out of. It's easy enough to just replace that. It should be able to fit here and here perfectly. Might take more than that. I think this is the way to go. Now, let's see if I can cut these. If they're lead or something like that, I'll be able to cut them. My cutter over here. No, we're not making a dent on that. All right, so I think I'm actually going to cannibalize two of them. And I don't know if I used all these things up, but if not, I'm not going to go look where they are. They're probably in there somewhere, but whenever I find them, I can just stick them on here and replace these. Okay, let's see if this is enough. I think that's enough. I think that's enough to keep this thing from falling down. Okay, cool. That's a decent solution there. Now, had I known that, I would have cut down the cork here and put them in there. And I could still do that. I could still cut these and put them even, or I can have them up here, you know, something like that. But I think this weight. All right, let's cut two more and see if we like that amount of weight better. This is what the wife said. We just get the same weights that you have on the other one. Say, well, the problem is I got to wait for them to come in. Well, not if I do this, I don't. You got to keep the momentum going. Yeah, if this works, I will cut the cork and put them down on the base level. We'll do that right now. Is this better? Definitely better. All right, that's what we're going to do. Okay. So. And is it wide enough to do it this way? No, I'd rather go this way. All right, so we're going to. And we can reuse this cork. It's not like you're throwing that away. A little cork block. A little bit more. There it is again. What's up, Ben? Do you feel like living up there so many years has changed your personality? That's like, if you live somewhere like, I'm going to use Miami as an example, right? Like, it's dog eat dog. So you either have to turn into an asshole or they eat you alive. You feel like it has affected that? You came up in conversation yesterday. We were talking about, I was playing an online game with people, and I was, well, not by choice, but I needed to communicate with some people online. I hadn't done that in 10 years, maybe 15 years. It's coming out again. You son of a bitch. And, man, I didn't realize how many people were like stoners. What do you do all day? Play video games and smoke pot. I'm like, wow. You fucker. And this is all I have. I mean, I've got. Well, here's one that won't come out. This blade. I don't know how I got this, but this thing is shut down completely. I can't get that to open. I don't know where I got this from. Let's try this one. Doesn't need to be that sharp. You're only cutting cork, dude. See, the next one we do, we'll just mount these little weights on there. Going native. You mean acting like going up there? Yeah, I can't stand going to Miami. Land of fucking assholes. It's just like anywhere where you're trying to do a simple task, stuff we take for granted in the rest of America, and it's a pain in the ass because of being so many people in your way, just naturally turns you into, an asshole. And so is everybody else. I mean, I remember I was one time in Miami, I'm from the South, right? So, like, you go to a parking lot, and you're waiting, and there's nowhere to park, and you wait for somebody to come out, you put your blinker on, that's your spot. Like, you see somebody pulling out, you put your blinker on, that's your spot. I've had somebody take it from me and flick you off. Like, that's like rule, you get shot in the South doing stuff like that. I mean, I'm not saying that that's right, but, that's some dishonorable shit. I don't live in a place where people were allowed to behave dishonorably. And I'd never do that to somebody. Okay. Well, now we know that when we do the rednecks one, I'll go ahead and add the weight out. So with no weights, it's like out of control. No big deal. It is a learning experience. We don't want to get any closer to that. Doesn't really matter where on this I put them. It's going to all be covered in goop. You're not going to see it. Okay, perfect. And then we need the ones in the middle. Honestly, what if I just stack 3 here and then 3 on the other one? Right, we did pull off 6, didn't we? There they are. Yeah, let's just do that. Leave the middle alone. All right. I don't want to make an emergency out of something until I, actually know that I need to make an emergency out of it. I don't want to like automatically add weights if there isn't an issue. Now we know. So next one we do. It's not like it's not correctable. It's just, it's better to do it right the first time. Just another opportunity to use the hot glue gun. Yay! To say that this thing paid for itself is an understatement. Okay. Now, yeah, it's got some heft. Unfortunately, now it has enough weight that it can hurt itself. Like if it were to fall on the floor or something like that. But let's not do that. Okay, perfect. Well, we're going to be cannibalizing all those. Actually, before I forget, let me go on Amazon and order them. The replacement. What do you order them on Amazon? It's just the stores don't fucking have anything anymore. I went to get balsa. I went to go get balsa wood. I went to Hobby Lobby, and here's the rack of Hobby Lobby of balsa. Now let me focus specifically on the areas where I'm looking for. They didn't have anything. They were freaking out. And I haven't bought balsa wood in 30 years. And they were out. Now, I managed to scrounge some enough to make it work, but that's why people don't go to stores. People don't stock things like they used to. Oh, it's after COVID. We can't, Fuck that. Okay, we need to... Whew. It's going to take a while to find this. All right, let's do a search for weights. Nope. What would it be called? Stick on... Oh. Stick on weights. These the same ones that I bought? Okay. They say they're 1/4 ounce. I don't know, it's not coming up as having bought them before. 48 pieces, 1/4 ounce. What's the dimensions of them? $7 can get them today. I don't need them today. All right, I'll look into that. I'm not gonna. I could basically get them immediately. All right, cool. I'll cannibalize all these for this project today. All right, is this enough, or do we want to put another 3? Yeah, this is good. This is good. We're not gonna. If we're gonna build anything on this, it's gonna be made out of. It's gonna be made out of balsa, so it won't be too top heavy. I would have not designed this with this board. So the guy, I mean, he was sharp. I would have made a whole piece of wood, and then it would weigh me even more. So you're struggling with the other wood. Is there a reason you didn't use plastic card? Don't have any. And it's expensive. Carry out with wire brush. Then again, I never know how well that works. I haven't tried it myself. I don't want to scour the wood because I haven't decided whether I'm going to make it out of, this is going to be wood or it's going to be metal looking. I haven't decided. And I'm used to painting wood as with the little wood strips anyways on something that doesn't have, no, it's not needed basically. All right, now let's see if my idea of putting a Tory gate thing on it is stupid. Just a little, just to make it a little bit different. Tory gate images. Okay, I don't want to do it curvy because, you know, I'd never be finished, right? So we need to like not make it curvy. And it seems like damn near all of them are curvy. It's not needed. It's not needed. Okay, this one is good to go other than the gooping. I'm not going to put any more reinforcement on it. It's still reinforcing just for looks anyways. Okay. The Red Nix one. We have the back of that one done. It is about the same size as the Asian Decimation. We're going to support it with, let's get one of these. I am not going to make the base bigger. We are going to put at least 9 weights on it. And we'll do those before we put the cork down, obviously, now that we know that. I meant scouring a plasticard. No, I just don't have any plasticard. It's really expensive. I mean, I have some, but I don't want to use it for the... I like this balsamine. It's easy to work with. I would have used sheets of wood. Just a thin, you know, the same thickness of this. I would have made a sheet of wood. But I like the idea of using this. I already had it, you know, and really didn't have a use for it. And I'm trying to think why I have it. I must have built something with it, and something for the buildings. A road? I don't remember. This stuff is cheap as shit. I mean, really cheap. At least here in the United States. Might be one of those things that's expensive here, and you know, here's that wood pattern. I wouldn't have done this. I would have just not even detailed the back. Not because it wouldn't have occurred to me. Would not have occurred to me. All right, rednecks. What kind of basing do we have here available to those guys? We got a square. We got a square piece. That might be worth doing. Made in Ecuador. How tall is this? Yeah, this is definitely hefty. Six inches and change tall. All right, so let's shoot for that same height. And I'd prefer to use basswood, but basswood's a pain to cut with this. And I don't have a saw, and the saw makes a mess. And you know, I actually may have a saw blade. It makes a mess. I'll be covered in powder, and I don't do coke. Yeah, going down to here. Is that 6? we don't need to make it taller than that. And this is tall enough that if you put one of those small weights, one of these in front of it, you could still see it behind it. Well, that's really freaking handy. Okay? Okay. So, this thing squishes a whole lot, unfortunately. It's almost like styrofoam. And I don't mind this looking rough hewn. This one, no doubt, will be made of wood. Anyways, Marcus, so I'm reading that in the book. I'm reading the, on Audible, I'm reading Prip Butar's book. I believe it's called The Reckoning. I highly recommend it. It's better than anything else. No, it's not The Reckoning. On a Knife's Edge. This is the one that includes Wintergewitter. It has a lot of details. I've got the actual book, but it's got a lot of it's got a lot of details in it. I mean, you could always have more, but it's got details about it's got a Soviet anti-tank gun guy that ends up like bringing his cannon into this town, into this village, and he ends up like the German tanks are attacking it, and he ends up like firing around at like 10 meters away. That's really close in game terms. So. That, and there's like a recon patrol that goes out with Panzer IIs, and they get knocked out, and then they have to like play dead and hide behind Russian tanks and follow them, and then it's got a lot of like really. I was surprised by what kind of details are on it, and because that's written in modern day, he's pulling from Rouse, and he's pulling from Scheibert, and he's pulling from the Soviet accounts. So I highly recommend that one. I've read his stuff before, and I'm still not through Winter Storm, but it's got more detail than any of his other stuff has ever had. And I don't know whether it's just because that particular time period, that particular engagement had a lot of accounts that other ones don't, but there's a lot of. I'm surprised with the amount of detail that's in it. I mean, it's never as tactical as I want it to be, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. If you're interested in, and I feel like I understand it a lot better than with his account. How they, and I've looked at the different maps and stuff enough times, so they pushed to Salievsky, and they. Hunnersdorf tank goes across the freaking river and slides off the bridge and fucks up the bridge. So now they don't have a bridge, and half the tank regiment is across the bridge. So they go on to Vernikumsky. The other guys stay back, and it's interesting. It's really it's well done. I'm impressed. I'm definitely impressed. All right. So we're going to make these things look like wood anyways. I need a beverage like water, and I'll be right back because I'm talking a lot. about the U.S. Rangers. Yeah, not really a topic that interests me. I don't know why I even have a squad of Rangers to paint. I don't know. Maybe I just don't think their uniforms are different enough. I don't know. I'm not trying to disrespect the Rangers or everything, but I can't be into everything. Okay, so we're gonna wing this. We're gonna put one here. We're gonna put one here. That's the two on the ends. And then we're gonna put another one there, and another one there. And then we'll worry about reinforcing and such. Now I used up a whole stick. This stick was $2. Like, it's expensive at that place, but I think I'm gonna get some on Amazon. You can get 1 foot long ones. That's fine. I don't need anything longer than a foot. And I'd rather buy local, but people don't fucking have things. You know, what are you supposed to do? Not build something because then nobody carries it? Actually, I'm gonna make the sticks protrude a little bit past the top on this one. Make it look all more rough hewn. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's perfect enough. I mean, why does it need to be more perfect than that? I mean, it's made by criminals. Okay. Yeah, this is the logo that we're going to have. Backwoods Berserkers, Mud Metal Mayhem, louder than thinking. I didn't come up with that. That's Chad GPT. I'm like, I like that. And I don't know anybody who would play this from the backwoods that would offend them. They'd actually be like, yeah, bring it. Bring it, Yankee fucker. You know what I'm talking about. Nobody in Virginia would be bothered by that. Okay. So this is what's going to end up going into the cork. Now, I may do it the same way. I might do the big long cork and then remove the pieces as I need them, because I like how hardy this is stuck into the base material. It works. It works really well, and I don't know that I'm going to mess with the tops of these much. I mean, obviously it'll be painted, but I want them to be kind of rough cut. Get you some logs. Okay, we might ding up these. Well, heck, all you'd have to do is just do, something like this. Now you don't have sharp corners. That's how soft this is. And this could be a fail. It could be like, these sticks don't work. So what would I do? Just remove them and put basswood sticks. Like, it's not going to affect anything else, the integrity. It's hot glue gun, man. You just... Don't worry about it. All right. I want to do some reinforcement on the back, probably like an X or something like that. But I want some of it to show here on the bottom as well. Now, we are limited by the width here, which isn't really a problem. I may actually do this one a little differently. I push this all the way to the front. That's going to allow me more space to put some angled stuff here and still do the crossbars. All right. What if we scooch it over to one side? That gives us a little bit more platform here to possibly make a platform to put it up there. I think I like that. I think I like that. So what I'm going to do is I am going to add the cork. That adds a lot of stability. And I'll cut out the slots later. Let's make sure that it's on a good base. Okay. There's a lot of stuff that's worked really well. Let's keep doing that. Okay. And we went up two. Two's good. That way you've got some support. Now, we're going to need to go wider than that, aren't we? No. No, actually we won't. I'm not going to necessarily worry too much about all this stuff overhanging. I can remove it later. the immediate drying is just like huge on this. And why did I pick this side? Well, if you look at the graphics, there's a beer bottle over here on this side. So if you put the stand on the other one, it kind of balances things out a little bit. It balances out more than putting it on that side with the beer bottle. Okay, let's leave this on. That's worked really well for me. We'll try to do this with balsa wood. If somehow this isn't very durable and we should have used basswood, we can always replace it at a later date. It's just so much easier to work with balsa. I mean, you got to be careful with this anyways. You don't want to get them to fucked up or, you know, anything like that. Where's my scooper? This thing worked really well. Yeah, and that book isn't all from the German perspective. Which, you know, I don't like things that are only from one perspective. It sounds like propaganda. It starts sounding like propaganda. Now, I'm going to... Where's the remnant? I'm going to use this as the tester. Yeah. Okay, let's go bigger than that. What I'll do is I'll try it on one that's not so big to see if it works to go ahead and hot glue gun this down and then put the cork around it. But I feel more comfortable about it having support doing, oh, let's use our tester, that's what we have it for, doing it this way. You know, maybe make it three-sided. And then we'll fill in the front. Good. Okay. I change the way I do things. The only hill I'm dying on is I only prime in black. I'm not priming in other colors. Okay, that's good. So I went to Hobby Lobby though, and I didn't have any of the trim pieces that go around it, but I found this, and this would be perfect for like fences for like a Russian village in 20 millimeter. They're 120 slim sticks. They're 350 for 120 of them, and they're 7.5 inches by 0.2 inches. So half a centimeter. That's what it's 19 centimeters. That's half a centimeter. I don't know. Whatever. These would be perfect for like, you know, those fences. They're around every fucking house in the village, you know, and they're all it would take is, you know, Panzer II to go in there on a, you know, joyride, and it's over, you know. Got to run errands. I'll check to see if you're back on. I should be on. Well, I think we're going out to breakfast, but just 7:30 here. I went to bed really early and woke up really early. How's that new computer working out for you, Ben? Hoffman was telling me about this shooter game, what, Easy Red 2. Whenever he comes on, I'm like, yeah, I think about getting that when the wife is away again. Not that I can't play it while she's here. It's easier when she isn't, you know. I could be like loud. Okay, I think this. Now the nice thing is I'm able to move this to the front now. Okay, yeah, it's front heavy. We know that. Yeah, I think that's. Yeah, that's good. Now we just need to let's clean up these two over here. Get more stuff off the ground so it fits in there a little better. And heck, while we're in this mode, we might as well add the weights now. Yeah. Yeah, so that fits in like this. We'll clean this shit up in a second. We done with this? Okay. So while we're doing that, we're going to put how many weights? 9. Where the fuck are we going to put them? No, these fuckers are getting cannibalized. You know what? I might actually reorder these. I didn't realize that they made them in black. I might reorder them in black, and that way I don't have to prime them when I go to paint over them to replace them. We don't use these when we're playing on the big mat with the palm trees anyways. These are the industrial ones. Okay, there's 2. We're going to need more than 2. I think this was the right thing to do. I mean, I have them here. At least I didn't paint these things. That would have been a waste. Paint over them and then, oh yeah, I'll remove them to. These things are extremely top front heavy. Okay, that one has 6, and this is going to have a platform on it. So let's do 8. Let's put 8 on this one. Let's add them in factors of 2. Okay. All right, so where are we going to put these weights? Well, for starters, we haven't added the goop yet. We could certainly add 2 there, 1 here, 1 here, and not even cut the cork. Because we got to build this stuff up anyways. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I didn't want a huge platform. I mean, this space is kind of is limited on these racetracks. I saw somebody posted a racetrack the other day on one of the Gaslands group, one of the 2 Gasland group I go to, and it looked really cool. But man, it was almost like circular. That's a big advantage to slow vehicles. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it that way. Just like, it definitely changes the game a lot, or it can. Yeah, I don't really want to compromise this meat in between these. So what if I kept these 2 in and cut this all the way down? It'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What if I just cut this all the way down to the bottom? And just remove this. Just remove this completely. And we're learning how to do this. Everyone we're going to do is going to turn out better. It's just totally forgiving. And now, yeah, we'll do one this way, one that way. Now we have those here, and we don't even remove the cork here. We leave this up like that. Yeah, it's relatively heavy. Let's do that. Let's roll with this. And going through hot glue like it's going out of style. Jeez, nope. I ain't kidding. I wonder how many people bought one hot glue gun and it didn't poop out on them, and they had time to as I bought one set of, how many glue sticks come in here? 75 glue sticks. And went through the 75 glue sticks and had to reorder more glue sticks, and the hot glue gun was still ticking. I've gone through about maybe 20 glue sticks. I don't think I've gone through more than that. But this is like the cheapest material to adhere things to. By like, I mean, it's not even close. There's nothing even comes close. There's 75 glue sticks might be $5, maybe. I don't remember how much I paid for it, but it was not much. Okay, this is pretty heavy. The other thing is this isn't going to warp. I mean, whenever we paint this, we don't have to worry about warping. Not that was a huge concern, but it's really no concern now. Okay, so now this weighs 3 times more than this. Let's check for fit. All right, we're going to go ahead and glue this in place. And I don't mind if it's angled towards the back just a wee bit. Ever so slightly. 5 degrees or something like that. That way it fits inside there a little bit better. Yeah, this is heavy enough. And yeah, it's off to one side on purpose. Still a little tacky. All right. Now what we're going to do is cock it in place. All right, now the rest is just aesthetics. Aesthetics. This isn't going to go anywhere. And we're going to have goop on it, so it's going to weigh you a little bit more. Not tremendously more, but okay. So, so you want to do a platform. You want to do a platform that a figure on a penny could fit on. Like out here. That's why it's off to one side. Oh, it's still sticky. And I don't know that I want it attached to the sign. I don't know that I want it attached to the sign. Is the footprint of this big enough? Just barely. All right. So let's start off by having a drink. Let's get, oh, these are the super readers. Okay. Let's go and use these. Let's use these cup marks down here, which we never use. Okay, this is what size? 3/4 of an inch. All right, so let's cut this 3/4 of an inch in the other direction. Something out here. Now, let's see what I have. That we're not already using. Hold on, I hold a whole bag of square stock. Where the fuck is it? Here's my leftover cork. I checked out some videos. I think what I'm going to do is if you hold on like a week, the wife is supposed to be leaving in about a week or so for some time, and I'll get it and we can tinker with it then. I think that's fair. I'm willing to throw $9 at it. It looks okay. Yeah, it's worth, $9. You gonna give me $9 worth of entertainment? It looks like it's got potential. Yeah, it looks similar to what's the one that's made by the same people who do War Thunder? It's okay. And I played that one for free, but I just thought, man, if I get that now, next thing you know, I'm looking for where the wood is. I have a whole little warmer. All this stuff should be in there. All this stuff. Anything wooden should be in there. Man, got enough tongue depressors? Jesus. Square stock, like little basswood 16th inch by 16th inch by 4 inches long. And you could buy them like bulk. That's tubing. We don't need to use tubing for that. Let me make sure I did not smart myself. And it'll be in here towards the bottom. There we go. This is what I should have used. That tank track sound I do not like hearing. This go here in a second. That one. Yeah, like this stock right there. But I have it like in. I don't really got much stuff of it. That's probably enough. I have a whole bag of it that I got, a couple bucks or something like that, maybe even less than that. Io non sé dove sta. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere it shouldn't be. It's somewhere it should not be. Nope. Oh well, it'll turn out when I don't need it. And I'll use it on the next project. That's not a problem. It's fine with me. Maps and down kind of at that point. Invasion of France and Shanghai are calling me. So supposedly it's was it you were telling me, or I read a little bit about it? Like one guy came out with it. And somebody was commenting that it was, had really accurate Canadian uniforms or something like that. I'm like, that's pretty cool. You have it on PC, or I can't get it on PC. I have no space on my computer, and I'm like, okay, well, what do I do to? Because I'm not stupid about computers, but technology is constantly changing, and I don't do that for a living, so I don't keep up with it. You got to get an external drive. Well, I can't just get an external drive, which is relatively inexpensive. I need to get one that's an SDD, right? That doesn't slow down, because if it runs slow, I can't just keep a program there. I'll get a horrendous frame rate or something like that. So, and they're like $400 or something. I'm like, I don't have $400 a video. I'll just make do with having a computer that doesn't have a lot of space on it. And they just didn't make this computer with any more space on it at the time when I got it. It's not like I opted to get a cheap one. It's like it just didn't make. It was like a package deal. Like it's I even forget what the hell this is. Microsoft Book 2, I think is what it is, or Note 2 or something like that. But it works as a tablet. It's been great. It works great, but it has memory limitations. It has memory limitations. My Xbox was the same way. It had memory limitations until I bought an external drive. Well, that was on the one. Now the new one doesn't have that, but I think it's got like a terabyte or something like that. So I don't have to take everything off, but I can have like 20 things on it and not run out of space. Whereas opposed to this computer, all I have is, the only thing I have on this computer is Streamlabs, War Thunder. I'm playing that with Don a couple times a week, usually one. He's one of those retired people that wakes up late. Like, dude, like you could be waking up early. No, you're not available. What else? That's about it. I can't even put World of Warships on there and War Thunder. So all the games I have, I can't have them on there. They're out in the cloud or what have you. All right, I need to focus the fuck up here. So yeah, let's wait for the lady to go away. Only because, like, if you wanted to play now, right? I just go in the living room, be as loud as you want. There's nobody here, right? You're not waking anybody up, that kind of thing. So. Yeah, I understand it's like a one-man operation. That's pretty cool. I didn't cut this thing square. You have it on PC? Yeah, I can't put it on PC. And I could play War Thunder on the computer, on the Xbox, and actually that's what I bought it through. But I can't fly. I can't fly in that game. You overcorrect. You're like, let me move a little bit over. Oh, you moved too far. Let me move a little bit back over. Oh, you moved too far. You know, you're constantly, you're flying like, I can't do it. I hate playing tanks in that game. I hate playing tanks in a game that is repetitive over and over again. Enlisted. Enlisted is the game that's made by the same people that do War Thunder. And it's a first-person shooter, and you can kind of get in tanks, but it's got so much paywall stuff that it just becomes really hard to look at the screen. What did I do? I got one that was already cracked. Man, why is this thing being so fucking difficult today? Why is this being so difficult? All right. One thing we need to solve is we need to stop keeping our blades over here. I got this raised so high up so I don't fuck up my back. It's not like I have a bad back, but if you sit a long time in the wrong position, you're gonna have a crick in your neck that amounts to a headache-like thing, and I just can't deal with a headache. Let's do this. Let's be. There we go. And that knife was dull as hell. Alright, now let's check it with a penny. He fits in there just fine. Okay, perfect. And it's not square, but that's okay. Because what we'll do is it'll be longer on the side that comes in. So this is the front. So we're going to have it over here. Now, what kind of stock do we have here? How long is that? Shit, we don't have to do real measurements. We can just, I want them about here on the stand. I want the stand to be about that tall. And we're gonna want barriers around it. Jeez, I'm fucking shaking. I haven't had enough caffeine for shaking. Maybe I haven't had enough caffeine. And then we use the same thing for a little barrier around it. And this may not work, but I've got the stock right here. Let's cut 4 pieces of this. What am I, just a little bit short? Yeah, this is the stock. This is that stock piece. I have a whole bag of this stuff. I don't know where the fuck it is. I don't know where the hell I put it. I could even go a little bit bigger, but I don't have a piece that's a little bit bigger. like in dimensionally. I want it square. All right, so here's the 4 pieces. That will do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little notch in here. We're totally winging this shit. I may just give up and not do it, but let's at least give it a good English try. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, enlisted is like too much going on. Too many things on there that's paywall shit. I don't mind paying for things, but not like, okay, well, you know, if you want this special camouflage, that'll be $1.50. If you want this tank before you're supposed to, before you earn it, it's $12. And I was like, no, it just, you know, I don't pay that kind of money for any of those things. And also, you have to like, it hurts your brain to look at some kind of display that displays all those things that you're never going to buy, and there's no way to turn them off. It's just, like I said, it's noise. There's too much noise. I don't have a problem with expansions. I have a problem with like people that want to pay things before they earn them. Like, you know, you can grind on this for a month, but if you want it now, it costs. I don't know who pays for this stuff. Maybe people are using daddy's money or something. I don't really know. Okay, so something like that is probably good. And we're going to need to put a little ladder. So the ladder needs to be within the footprint. Let's glue one down and then do it equivalently. This might be the place where I should use super glue, but so unfriendly to work with. It is a crazy menu screen. It is a crazy, and there's some things that I do like about it. It's the only game that I've ever seen that you can tell the difference between like a German tank and a Soviet tank, and the way it operates its machine guns. So, for instance, the Soviet tank, when you have to replace the whole machine gun when you go to fire it, it's got smaller ammunition things than a German tank. You know, the German one's got the 75 round thing that you just attach to it. So every 75 rounds you got to reload. You got to reload every 47 with the Soviet one. So I thought that was kind of unique, but you know, upgrading all your guys after each battle, it's exhausting. But it does have Shanghai map. It does have Far East stuff. But I mean, there's a lot going on. I felt like War Thunder was the same way until Don walked me through it. And now I'm comfortable with it. You know, it's the whole reason that I don't like certain game companies, their way they handle doing things. Like, I don't like Bethesda. I don't like the way Bethesda does things. I like the way Blizzard does things. Blizzard stuff makes sense. the fonts they use, the menus. Okay. And I don't want it removable. I want it to be like it's part of this thing. There may not be anybody there, but it's an integral part of this. And I might have made the base too big, but I'm not necessarily opposed to crimping it in a little bit because it is, made by backwoods folks. I mean, it even says on the side, backwoods berserkers. Now, I think what I'm going to do is, let's see, it's going to fit better like this, isn't it? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and glue it in place. Go ahead and glue it in place, and we can do the supports while we're there. Hold on one second. Okay, folks, we're going to wrap this one up. We're going to do breakfast, and then I don't know that I'll be back on later on, but anyways, thanks for coming by. We'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.